to finalize the construction, and next year we invite the public to enjoy their space as they have been enjoying their space. And so basically, what are we doing? We are working, of course, in our plans as museums and heritage. We work with educationists. We are creating heritage clubs, working with the civil society organizations like CCFU to make sure that as we implement this competence-based curriculum, we also focus on objects that will help these students or learners to learn, and they will be able to pass their exams. But we welcome tourists. Uganda is very beautiful. And for cultural heritage, we find that, of course, the ministry gazetted about 309 sites, heritage sites with significant value to Uganda. And among these sites, some of them we have also gone ahead and nominated them to the World Heritage, UNESCO World Heritage listing. A case of Kibiro, Salt Village, we submitted it for World Heritage listing, and evaluators are coming on board this year to see indeed the outstanding or the uniqueness of the site that is worth a universal recognition. And so we hope that when all the processes are done, 2027 July, Kibiro will be able to be on the World Heritage List. And so what does this help us? It helps us because we have a category of tourists that we know that follow World Heritage. So if we have a certain category, like the way we know we have researchers, we have tourists that are interested in animals, we have tourists that are interested in mountain climbing, we have tourists that are interested in rafting, we normally see them. We have tourists also that are interested in World Heritage. And so that's why we are coming up with different programs to make sure that we attract tourists, both local and international, from all angles. Yeah, and maybe from what we are doing, of course, as Ministry of Tourism, from 2016, that is when we started campaigns of Tolambule, because at that time we felt that, as we market our products, we normally have been marketing to the international consumers, whereas COVID taught us that we can also have a self-sustaining tourism base whereby our local people can also tour these sites. And from COVID, when, of course, there were no planes, there was nothing, and with the continuation now from Turambure to Explore Uganda campaigns, we've noted that domestic tourism is the way to go. We've seen this in different countries like China, Norway, and even Uganda. We can do it. And so why are we creating products that can satisfy our own population or our own tourists or our own local tourists? That's why we are coming up with these culinary tourism. For example, we had Rolex, and then we are coming up with heritage sites. So we think that people traveling from Kampala to maybe Kabale should be able to pass Mugaba Palace heritage site and get to understand their history. We think that as we do regional balancing, we do not need schools to travel from Kisoro, from Rukunjiri, to move and, bypass a museum in Kabale, bypass a museum in Barara, and come to the museum in Kampala. Everything that we have done, we have catered for those other, for our audience, because we understand our audience. And so that's why we have worked with the curriculum team to make sure that what we put in our museums will satisfy what is required for all these educational levels from primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Hello, my name is Sandra Ibinjira. I am an interior architect and designer based in Kampala. I have a company called Kenya Nyozi Interiors. I have been working on this project for the past year. Here in Kamukuzi Hill, this is Mugaba Palace. This is the home of the last king of Ankole, who was Omugabe Gasyonga. Right now we're standing in his house. This is the newest structure on this hill. The construction was completed in the 1950s. All the information, all the research that we did is written on all the walls. For this space here, which is the ground floor of this house, we have taken items from Uganda Museum in Kampala. Since the abolition of the kingdom, which was in 1967, the abolition of all the kingdoms of Uganda, these items were kept in Kampala. So what we did was we brought them here, we built these showcases, these exhibition showcases, to house these objects, which can protect them, but they're also here for public viewing. This, for example, was the robe, which the king wore, and he has been photographed many times in this robe. There is his crown. This is a walking stick made of ivory, and these were shoes which were embroidered. They come from India. Here we have the queen, his wife, Omugarire. This is her dress. These are her gloves, a tiara, some shoes. These are the only objects that Uganda Museum had in their possession. Unfortunately, a lot of the items which were here originally in the house were looted, stolen over the years. There were very little items which were found and which were held onto by the museum. So we set up this space with these few items that the museum had been holding onto for many years. In some of these cases, we placed documents from the National Archives of Kampala. Here we have the original plans for this house, Gasyonga House. These are just some notes from the contractors who painted, who built. There's some information here about the tombs of the kings, which are located nearby. We placed the map of the house, the ground floor and the first floor. So these are informal plans which talk about the maintenance of the property that belonged to the king at the time. On this side, we have the agreements which were made between the British and King Kahaya. So this is the 1901 agreement. These are communications between the British officials who were based in Uganda and the kingdom at the time. Here are some more objects from Uganda Museum. These are spears which belonged to the king at the time. The different spears, some have copper tips, some have bells, but these are authentic items which belong to Omugabe at the time. This is the new agreement, the 1962 agreement, and here we found documents about the signing of the agreement, seating charts of those who were invited to the ceremonies, and the people, lists of the people who were invited to the ceremony. It's quite interesting, but visitors can come and read through at their leisure. This is a continuation of the signing of the Ankole Agreement. It's explaining everything about the new arrangement at the time. These are the natural toothbrushes that was used by Omugabe Kahaya. They're natural toothbrushes that they would just peel and then they would brush their teeth. These are interesting items. These are items which were taken from Ankole in the early 1900s, and they were taken to the UK, to Cambridge, and they were just recently returned in 2024. These are beautiful milk pots. You could see how they were shined to the point of looking metallic, but they're not metallic. They're made from clay. And these are other original objects. This is a local guitar. This is a bow. In here we have a basket which used to belong to the king with different objects that were found inside this basket. Horn, which is filled with charms, it was carried during battles. And this is a vintage Ankole cow horn. So originally this room was a sitting room for the king. His visitors would come, wait here for him, and his office is just across outside that door. And if we go through this door, this room was the family's dining room. Through this door is the kitchen, but this is where the family would have formal dinners. Even the king would have formal dinners in this space. However, we created a photo gallery room here. We wanted to highlight the talented photographer at the time, Musa Katuramu. He was born in 1913. He was a carpenter, but he was also one of the first photographers who would come to Mugaba Palace and take photos of weddings that would take place here, people who would gather here for different celebrations. And he would also photograph everyday life of Banyankore. And so the family was kind enough to give us some photos, which we put on display. So if the general public comes and they recognize someone in these photos, it would be very nice for us to note down their names and give them recognition. He took a lot of photos of the clergy, so we put some information about Christianity in Ankole. And so we can proceed upstairs. A king could only become a king if he had possession of the drums, Bajendanwa. This Omugabe Gasyonga was the last king of Ankole, and he became king during the time of the British present in Uganda. So this house is more of a modern house. It's not like Omugabe Kahaya's house, which was the older original house here at Kamukuzi Hill. So that's why the furniture here is a little bit more modern. It represents the mid-century modern time period. He was a modern king, so he had all the modern conveniences. This piece of furniture here actually contained a radiogram inside. So if you open it, you can open it and there's a system there to play music. These are speakers. Because in the past, the family would play music, enjoy, they would dance, they would have fun here in this space. The children, the queen, her friends, her relatives. So this was a place, it was a happy place. And we interviewed quite a few people who told us that Omugabe Gasyonga, his family, they would always welcome family and friends here. And they would enjoy. They would have meals, they would laugh. The king would be in this room with his friends and with other kings, that room right there. This room here is a guest bedroom. This is a guest bedroom which was occupied by different people over the years, but the most important occupant is Prince Wasaja of Buganda, because his mother was a niece to Omugabe Gasyonga. And so he was born here. He lived here for a period of his life as a child, as a baby. And so that's why we placed a small baby's bed here. Additionally, there are panels, information for children who come. Their teachers could ask them questions about the Banyankore, life in the palace, anything concerning this area, this house, the other houses, So we wanted to create an open space. This is the girls' room. This is the princess's room. Princess Victoria and Rosemary. Yes, those are the daughters, 2 daughters of Omogabe Gasyonga. Princess Rosemary gave an account of her life here growing up. And so we placed it there on the wall. And it's quite interesting to read. Her memories here as a child, growing up. Many of these paintings on the wall were painted by Grace Ibinjira, who was a nephew to Gasyonga and an artist as well. And we know that he had given many paintings to the king as a gift. And this is a room we just called the family room. In the past, it was a bedroom, it was a guest bedroom. But it was more interesting and more relevant to put photographs of their friends and family members. And we urge the public to donate photographs if they have, which can be placed here and added on Kahaya, Omogabe Kahaya. He was very big, and in fact, we were told that he even had breathing issues. So someone would be able to hear him breathing if they were standing all the way down the hill. They would be able to hear him breathing. So perhaps he had a problem that was undiagnosed, but he died without leaving any children. He had no children. So the successor who they named was Gasyonga, who was his nephew. Mugaba Palace is one of the most architecturally significant structures from the colonial era in Uganda, built in the Cape Dutch Revival style, an adaptation of the Dutch Cape Baroque. Its design marks a significant shift in the material expression of kingship in Nkore. Its building and construction were partly attributed to the leadership of the Prime Minister at the time, who began plans for the palace during his term as Prime Minister from 1937 to 1946. So significantly different from Kahaya's house. So we invite the public, the general public, to come and visit Mugaba Palace, to visit the home of the kings of Ankole. There's much to see here. We have 4 structures here. We have Gasyonga's house. We have Omogabe Kahaya's house. We have Nyamashore's house. We have the drum house. And in the drum house, we have maybe the oldest artifact in Uganda to date, which is Bajindanwa. There's a drum which was created by the last Muchwezi king, Wamara, in about the year 1250. So it's very important for people to come and view our history, which is everyone's history in Ankole, as well as the outside world. And it's a very important place, I think, for tourists from abroad to come and visit, because this is a piece of history which is very important for us to preserve for future generations. So thank you.
The Lens program on UBC TV is proudly brought to you by
Mustafa, welcome home.
It is small, but it is something. Everyone starts from somewhere.
Welcome home.
The problem is the foundation.
Do you know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
Muzafaru, the day I decide to build, in fact, I will import the foundation into the country.
By the way, your security lights, they are very small. Me, when I build my house, I will put the motion sensor.
As you can see the living room, I managed to bring in some tiles.
And I told you, when I build my house, I get tiles from Italy raw, bring them here, original. This nonsense of having one TV. Me!
Some people talk about building houses. Others build them. Do you have land?
I am working on it.
You buy your buy today and